I've seen you brought a junket location with you.
I did. You mean this?
Yeah, right.
Ah.
So before we start, can I offer you something to drink, some popcorn, anything?
Of course, I have a little vitamin C here.
Oh, all right. That goes too. So,
How
and
are you?
very well, thank you so much. And thank you for doing this during lunchtime. It's actually lunchtime for you, right?
What is it? Yeah, I don't even know what time it is anymore, buddy. Yeah, I think it is.
So are you gonna make some delicious potato skins based on the recipe of your character?
Wow. Oh
It
my
would be an
God.
option, right?
Oh, that's funny. I love it. I love it. What is it? My famous well, it was potato skins. That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
the world famous.
Yeah, world famous. That's amazing.
Absolutely. So Michael, before we go to the serious stuff, I would like to ask some two fun questions because they are about topics that kind of that I enjoyed. You know, one of them being like your character describing himself like as a smart dad because he tells his daughter to come home early and that she doesn't have a boyfriend and stuff and everything. So, in your opinion, what is a smart dad?
Oh, geez. I think it's so hard to be a dad. I mean, a parent of any kind. It's a good question. I think, uh, that can't be answered in this Zoom because it's not enough time. But I will tell you,
Right.
I think being an open person and someone who communicates with their children very much and exposes them to a lot of things. I remember, luckily in my life, in terms of what my parents did, they weren't overprotective of me at all.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm exposed to a lot of things.
Yeah.
However, when it came to going away to school or being away from them and people were drinking or this, it's not like my parents were letting me drink at a young age. It's just that
Yeah.
I never overdid it.
Uh-huh.
Where I had friends whose parents were very, very hard on them, I remember, and didn't give them, like, it's if you don't give a little kid any candy
Yeah,
or
yeah, 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 yeah.
he's like and like an
Yes.
animal. And I think the same thing can happen with alcohol, which could then possibly lead to
Mm.
drugs, saying when you get a little older. So one of the attributes that I feel pretty strong about of being a good parent, there are many, is being open and very communicative with your child.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the other question would be like, because it's also a thing in the movie whether you wrap gifts or not. So I was wondering, do you prefer to give and receive gifts wrapped or unwrapped?
100% receive wrapped.
Yes.
What?
Oh, and the other way?
The other way, I always have to wrap them. I'm never going to give a gift unwrapped, especially at Christmas, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at it at all, man. Really bad, really bad. Like I never have the at the end, when you fold it and put the tape on, it's just a
Yeah.
ball with and then sometimes you don't cut enough, so there's a little space between on the back of the box or whatever it is where you have to put tape and then cut another
Yeah,
piece.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Same here. At the end, when I wrap something, at the end it looks like a huge candy or something where I just
Yes,
roll everything.
that's exactly right. Just
Yeah.
roll it in. Yeah. But certainly, I think at Christmas you got to wrap and always
Yeah,
receive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. So, you were an additional director on this project, and I was
Yes.
wondering, what would you say has been like the biggest influence you had on the project in terms of, on a creative level in that position?
Well, listen, at the end of the day on this one, um, a lot of creative came from myself. And for me, what I believe in most is if you have access to the writers, you
Hmm.
use writers. And in this case, I had the Gear brothers. So I was
Yeah.
very fortunate, even though my feet were on the ground every day filming,
Mhm.
I had the Gear brothers to talk to because I produced on this as well. And the thing about it was you get a script and you fall in love with the writing, right?
Mhm.
Now you have to make the movie. That's a different thing. And then you
Yeah.
have to edit it. So it's but to all the little Easter eggs in the script, all the things that I truly fell in love with when I found the script,
Mhm.
I had to fight for throughout creatively on many levels, whether it be egos, people not liking it, whether it be COVID, whether it be we couldn't lock a certain location. So now we have to shift and change and pivot to make it. So at the end of the day, look, everybody's brought something to this. It's not my film, it's a collaboration, it's our film. But
Mhm.
I had to fight a lot, and I'm very proud for the things that we brought across the finish line, because many of them, because now is the first time I'm hearing people see the movie and talk about
Yeah.
it. And a
Yeah.
lot of those things that creatively I fell in love with.
Mhm.
And when I called Darren Gear after I read it, I was on a plane 3 days later. I was like, "Oh my god, I see this, small town, beautiful Dante Gremlinsy Spielbergian beginning
Yeah.
into this Sin City-esque graphic novel, into westerns that I love, the spaghetti string westerns, Death Wish, like Clint Eastwood, badass, then into this crazy Tarantino-ish third act with
Mm.
Evil Dead, and then he was bringing, Hostel meets Saw, and I was like, oh my, so we had this crazy thing. So from that day over 3 years ago till now, it's really been us fighting for a lot of things and sort of being the gatekeeper of the script, is what now, like Samuel Gonzalez, amazing stylized director who came in and did beautiful style. Bridget, amazing at story.
Mhm.
But as the producer and just sort of guiding it and stuff, I've been the creative, like I guess you call it the guardian of the script, the gatekeeper, of the story. And I say that with a lot of passion because I
Yeah.
never. It's hard to make a movie, and
Right.
the thing is, you're never gonna make everyone happy. And if you do, that's not a movie that I love, anyway. So the movie's not for everyone. I know that. But
Mhm.
what I am really proud of is that a lot of the things that I fell in love with the script have made it on the screen, and that's all I tried to do. And then a guy named Alan Kovac, who's the producer behind this whole thing,
Yeah.
never left he always had my back. And he was like, "Go, Michael, go. What do you need? Go." And that's huge,
Uh,
you know. So yeah, it's kind of a long answer, but it's just truth.
yeah. 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 No, that totally. And but I believe that in the end, you have to work on something that makes you happy, right? And that
You
you're satisfied with.
you have to. Like, the bottom line is, this is so hard to do, and it's been 3 years or more, like literally like a family member, that
Well,
if you love it and you're not full of passion,
mhm.
it's like you have to feel like you can't possibly do anything else, like
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and this has been my baby, like it's been the thing that,
Yes.
fell in love with, and I wanted to play the character, and I love the script, and it's a fun popcorn movie. But at the end of the day, it's got a lot of twists and turns. But at the end of the day, hopefully it has a few questions you might want to ask about morality or religion
Oh
or,
yeah. Yeah.
so.
Absolutely. There's something very interesting that Jacoby said about playing a part in this movie, because he said that he never went to acting school and that it was like the environment that allowed him to get in character anyway. I was wondering, because you went to acting school very early on in your career, I was wondering, what would you say, how much in terms of a natural talent do you already have to bring to an acting school in order to make sure that they get out the rest of you? Because sometimes you see actors going there and then you watch movies and you still feel like that they don't really have it, or that something is missing.
Yeah, well, Jacoby's so good in this. Did you get to interview him?
No, 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 no. I've seen him say that in the featurette, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think, acting, it's all about the work. It takes a lot of work. And I think, it may not be it's certainly not for everyone.
Yeah.
You have to be able to access all these different emotions that, we were talking about earlier, like raising a kid, like, if the kid's crying, it's hard to keep going. Don't cry, don't cry, don't do
Yeah.
this. We're
Yeah.
told all this as children, right?
Mhm.
Don't do this, stand like this, do that. So then when you go as an actor, you want to unpeel all that and let all that go and be able to, because
Yeah.
kids should be the best actors because they're so full of passion and enthusiasm and,
Yeah.
cry like that. And so I guess it has a lot to do with your upbringing, but you could also have a very tough upbringing and still be a great actor. But you have to be able to do the work and peel back the onion and sort of commit, man. It's a lot of work. Like, it's not what you think. And like, look, we're not digging ditches, it's not that. But I think Jacoby, for instance, he's a storyteller with his music, right? So he's an
Yeah.
artist, he's an
Exactly.
open vessel.
Yeah.
So in this case, he had to just make it a little smaller and put it behind his eyes. And it's always about the pinch, never the ouch. You know what I mean? Like, what is making you feel this way? And in this case, it's very smart of him to have said he used what was on set, because I had to do that. You always have to. You might have a very dramatic, quiet scene, and then right before it, a crew member's yelling at another one, and all this is happening. But in
Yeah.
this case, my character's pretty beat down in this, and I was also producing, and there were a lot of situations where I was kind of exhausted, very much so. So, 12-hour days of shooting, then back at the hotel,
Yeah.
putting out fires for the next day. So I was able to use that too. So yeah, there's a lot of different tricks, but I think you have to just really be willing to go there, really trust and jump off that cliff at the end of the day. And that might be an acting class to test yourself, to learn, to have the guts to do it. There's so many factors, a lot of luck. It's just it all comes together, hopefully.
Yeah, right, right. And I like the wing at the 80s, and that one-liners are also a thing in this movie, obviously. And I was wondering, because the fascinating thing about one-liners is they are either super cool or like silly, or sometimes even both. And so and when it comes down to scripts, it's always fascinating because sometimes you read the dialogues and they read super cool on paper, and then you have a table read or on set and you realize that they sound not as good as you thought, or as good as they read on paper. So I was wondering, are there any like lines or one-liners that you felt like you guys needed to change or even remove because they didn't fit in the way you imagined?
The thing about those, I think we shot them all, and I think they all made the script. I think that's one of the things you have to creatively fight for, because I love that, like you said, with the nod to the 80s. And if you get the script and you understand it, then you're gonna go, oh, these are
Yeah.
corny. John Bishop, they're dad jokes too. You know what I mean? Like, it's like he's a dad and he's a little corny. He's a pastor. He's a man of the community. But I think from his perspective, you have to play him really truthful. And I just looked at it as like he loved all these movies, and I think it's so fun to nod at the one-liners though that we use, and then we circle back and like do it at the end from the Christmas tree lot without giving too much away. So
Yeah.
I don't think I think that's something that we fought pretty hard for, Darren and I, throughout. I don't think we lost any. I think we might have, like, we did a couple takes of some that were different than what they were in the script, but yet they were still one-liners. A lot of them were the same, but that we might have, I think Darren and I, the one thing we had a good discussion about was changing one of them slightly. So I did a few takes of it with his, and then with a
Uh-huh.
little twist on it. And I think we ended up going with the twist on it. But he still to this day, I think, wants the original. They both work though. But besides that, it's true to what he wrote, you know?
Awesome, man, awesome. But speaking of like the Christmas and Christmas tree, because a subject in the movie is also like crossing lines, and crossing lines can be like something small or something big, because at the beginning we see like the guy when they are trying to get the Christmas tree back from the guy, like the guy is crossing the line by taking the tree and then by pushing your character, and then
Yeah.
your character then has like to make the decision if he wants to cross an even bigger line by taking that minute that is offered to him. And so it's like a subject that goes through the movie in a way. Correct me
Absolutely.
if I'm wrong.
Oh, absolutely. And does he choose to be passive, or do you stand up for yourself? And that's the whole, it teeters on, and it lives on that. sort of provocative question, of retaliation, revenge. It's the oldest tale, right? That there is. It's that primal instinct, that urge. And I think that it does go from very small to very big. And I think that's what happens to the character. By the end, he's one person. I mean, by the beginning, he's one person. And by the end, he's a completely different guy. And you could sit there and say, what do you do? Do you choose to be
Exactly.
passive? Do you stand up? And there's a lot of circumstances that play into that. But you're absolutely correct. That's the line that it rides on the whole film. That question of morality, like, where do your morals stand in that circumstance?
Absolutely, exactly. And Michael, my last question to you will be like, because there's also a line of your character that goes like, uh, he went, he took a journey through hell in order to find his peace.
Mhm.
And that's only because a lot of actors say that, like that, or filmmakers in general, that working in Hollywood can also feel like working in hell because, as you said earlier on, it's really hard to get movies made. So as
Yeah.
well, if you remember like a specific journey where you felt like you had to go through this hell, development hell or whatever, that kind of brought you to a point where you kind of felt like your inner peace in a way on a symbolic level as an artist.
Oh man, there've been so many, and I still don't know. I think that I have more inner peace now, but in those moments that I reflect on where I went through hell and then always managed to, whether, just navigate it enough and stay in for my passion for the arts and acting and storytelling, that hopefully, it's just a long journey. There's so many ups and downs. And when I thought that I had found inner peace before, then you hit another struggle, and then you
Yeah,
build and find it again. And then, like, making this movie was hell a lot because although when I say that, the best experience of my life, and I learned so much through this. It's unbelievable, in terms of being on the other side of the camera and accomplishing this goal. And I hope to grow on it from here and continue to do a lot more and hopefully better. But I haven't found inner peace from it yet, but it's nice talking about it now and reflecting upon this. I
yeah,
can't, you could write a book, what happened with
wow, yeah,
COVID, like I said, but I'm sure I'll drop down again in the next circumstance and figure out how to claw my way out. And I think that's what lets us wear our badges at the end of the day. Like, it's like fighting in battle, right? You become all the way up to a captain, a colonel, or I played a fireman on this show, and I was the rookie firefighter, right? It was a television show called,
yeah,
and then you have captain firefighters, right? So it's these experiences that you have to learn and go through. And I think if you're not open to learning, because we all learn every day, then you won't grow. So for me, I'm always learning. I'm always making mistakes. It's just not making that same mistake twice and growing from it and hopefully doing a little better the next time you get the shot at it.
right. Seriously, Michael, thank you so much for talking to us, for your insightful responses, seriously. And I can tell you, I really enjoyed your movie. I'm not saying it because I'm talking to you. Really, I mean it. And you know, I love how you guys made us even care about people so quickly. I'm thinking of the old couple, for example, towards the end.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's like only a few scenes, a few minutes, but like it only took one dialogue to make you go like, okay, I don't want, something to happen to those people.
Yeah, they're
So
really sweet. Yeah, and like they're
yeah,
this old
totally.
couple, and they're still charming with one another and very,
Yeah.
yeah, and in love. Yeah, you're right. Well, listen, I wanted to thank you for your questions because I think they were really different than other interviews. And
Thank
I
you so
appreciate it.
much.
Yeah, man, it's been cool. Enjoyed talking to you, and thank you for watching the film. And I'm really
Oh,
happy to hear you enjoyed it. It sounds like you picked up on some cool stuff. Like you hit some really good points. So thank you.
it has very meaningful stuff in there, and I really love that.